Hey YouTube, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel if you're back. If you don't know me, my name is JD Savage. I'm a six-figure affiliate marketer. What I do is I teach people to make money here on YouTube on my channel, Imperfect Millionaires. Imperfect Millionaires is my YouTube channel as well as my business. Specifically what I mean is I've been a coach and a consultant, mindset, and life strategies coach for the last 30 years now, almost 30 years, 29 years. And what I've learned is a whole lot about myself and a whole lot about people. And specifically, that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're interested in affiliate marketing, I've built out courses here on my channel. I've got a 180-day challenge going on. It's free. You can jump up here, jump into my Facebook group right here, and we will show you how to do all of the things successfully that I lay out in these courses that I've built here. This is high ticket. This is low ticket. But specifically, I don't charge you for a course. I think it's what's a little different about my channel. In particular, I'm just not into it, right? I've built courses in the past. I've sold courses in the past. I've been a one-on-one coach for many, many years. And I believe that the information should be free to you. And so I've assembled those things. I've made some mistakes with those things. I show you what those are. I show you what I was successful with. And you can literally copy, paste, and replicate my efforts and build an income for yourself and your family if that's what you're into. But that being said, that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what I've learned over the last 30 years about people and what the most common mistakes are. And I've got 10 of them today because this is what I've seen over and over and over. And I'm not just talking about affiliate marketing. I'm talking about life in general. So if you're not into affiliate marketing, cool. You should watch this anyway. You should grab a pen and a paper. You should write these things down. And then you should take stock of your own life and your own self and see if any of these are in fact affecting your life, right? Meaning in the negative way, right? Or if they're not, that's awesome. That's great. But these are the most common things that I see. I've worked with thousands of people in my lifetime, and you wouldn't believe some of the people that appear to have from the outside all the trappings of success. They still suffer from a lot of these things. So these are the things that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to keep it fast paced so I don't lose your attention. But also, I want you to understand that we need to go in depth on some of these because they're pretty serious. They really do affect people. Okay, and I'm going to try to give you the juxtaposed, side of it as well. All right. The problem and a solution, because I'm not just here to point out problems. And I also want everybody to clearly understand these are very personal to me. These are things that have affected me personally in my own life. And I've made plenty of mistakes. You're looking at a guy that has built a fortune twice and lost it and then built it a third time and managed to keep it thus far. Okay. So I can tell you that I know this from experience. I am not here to criticize anybody. I'm not here to point the finger at anybody. All right. With that said, if you like this kind of content, do me a favor, give me a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and tick the bell icon so you're notified when I release any new content, which is pretty much daily these days, okay? All right, moving forward, enough said. Number one on my list is you fail because you're afraid to stand out amongst the crowd, right? I see this all the time, and I've experienced it personally, right? Me doing this right here on a YouTube channel, I'm opening myself to criticism, but I'm okay with that. Now, I wasn't always okay with that. I'll point out to you something that I talked about creating a YouTube channel for years, and I didn't do it. I wasn't really considering why I didn't do it. I wanted to bring truth, my version of the truth, at least from what I can see, the problems that I see with affiliate marketing, the problems that I see with the world in general. And I was coaching in a very small niche, right? And it was easy for me because it was all word of mouth. I really didn't have much to do with advertising or didn't need to, right? There was one point in my life where I had a really enormous Google ad budget, actually, but generally speaking, the majority of my life, that wasn't the case. Right. And it was kind of easy for me. And I got to talk to great people and I got to work with great people. And I'm not disappointed that I did it. But what I can tell you is I didn't come forward because I knew doing something like this would open me up to far more criticism. But it also allows me to reach far more people. And that's why I'm here. So consider that. Are you afraid of standing out amongst the crowd? Or do you have a varying degree that you're willing to stand out amongst the crowd? Here's what happens. And I won't go super deep into that because it's really a giant topic. But social narrative is not our friend, right? Society itself is set up in such a way that, we're all told these kind of things. Well, keep your head down. Don't stand out. Don't make a fool of yourself. Don't this, don't that. Don't make mistakes, right? School, what does school teach us? It teaches us to memorize things and regurgitate things, right? And that's what we're taught. Sit down, be quiet. Don't be disruptive. All of those things. So they're all ingrained in our mind. Listen, if you're not willing to stand out amongst the crowd, if you're not willing to step up and face the concept that you might get some criticism, right? So what if you do? What happens then? Think about it. Have you ever been criticized in your life? The odds are you probably have. What happened? Really, what happened? See, it's the same here. Only a lot of times the people criticizing you, and I guess I bring this YouTube to light because I work with so many people that would love to create a YouTube channel. They'd love to be doing what I'm doing right now, but they're fearful of it. So to any of you that have that thought, or whether it's YouTube, I don't really care what it is, right? Maybe you want to be a speaker. Maybe you just want to advance at work, but that would put you in front of talk. You have to talk in front of a crowd and you have to address people. Let me ask you something. What has being afraid to stand out cost you in your lifetime? Up to this point. If you had it to do over again, would you do it differently? If the answer is yes, then let me ask you something. Don't you think you're going to feel that way in 5 years, 10 years, if you don't decide to just address it now and take it on and realize that, look, this is what it's cost me in my lifetime up until this point. Make a list. What does it cost you? What's the cost been? I'll bet you it's been extreme. That's the case for most people. Make that list and really do that comparison. And that might be enough just to push you over the edge and just say, screw it. I don't care anymore. I'm going to get on with getting on. I'm going to get on with living. I've got X amount of years left, and this is how I want to be. That's what I'm here to do today. I'm here to appeal to you to live your life the way you want to. If you're settling for a life you don't want because you feel like you have to, you don't. You don't. I'm telling you, you don't. The only person in your way, I had a conversation this morning with a good friend, kind of a chat back and forth, and he mentioned something, right? He said, nothing's going to stop me. Well, you know who you are. But here's the thing. There's no thing trying to stop you. The only thing stopping you is your own mind. You're in your own way. Get out of the way and just be. Just exist, right? Set the baggage down. You're carrying these bags accumulated throughout your lifetime. You can stop, set them down in the middle of the street and walk the hell off, right? And that goes for anybody listening. It's an option. I've seen people do it over and over and over again. But here's what always happens. No matter how they get there, what finally changes things is when they make the decision to set the bags down and walk away. So I'm urging you, if you're hearing me now, set the bags down and walk away, okay? I got to keep moving because I got to get through several of these, but I think they're all very important. Not being persistent enough. Most people that I've ever seen that are not persistent tend to fail, but there's a reason that they're not persistent enough, right? And what is that? Typically what I find is most people have the perception or the idea or the notion that once they decide to do something, the world's just going to open up, right? I see this all the time with people starting businesses. They're excited to get their business card. They're excited to name their business. They're excited to get the website. But when it comes down to the grind, when it comes down to push coming to shove, then what happens is they tend to back off, right? They tend to back off. You see, the bottom line is this. I believe that people drastically underestimate what they can do in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years. But a lot of people tend to highly overestimate what they can do in 30 days, 60 days, right? You've got all these habits built that have taken a lifetime to accumulate, however old you are. And then I get this from a lot of people. Yeah, but I stopped doing that a month ago. Okay, that's awesome. That's great. That's a good start. However, you have to continue, right? It's kind of like an example I'll give you from an affiliate marketing standpoint is creating content. I recently went through and I was deleting short little reels, right, that I made. If you're not familiar with that, they're just little, 15 second to 1 minute videos. And there was thousands of them, literally. I just was going through and just moving them over because the storage where I was storing them was full, right? And I didn't realize how many I'd accumulated, how many I had made. And here's a common thing that I hear from people. Man, I've made 10 videos. And I'm not getting the result I want. I think, again, people highly underestimate what it takes to be persistent. I liken content and affiliate marketing and marketing to a pebble in the ocean, right? You're standing there and you're throwing a pebble in the ocean. You're not going to fill it up, ever, really. But here's the thing, 10 videos, 100 videos. That's not that many, right? But here's what I can tell you. Here's what I can promise you. In this case, if you just continue and continue and continue and continue, you will get what you want. But I think most oftentimes people highly underestimate how important it is to be persistent, right? That's why it's so important to choose, whether it's a job, a career, a hobby, right? When you stick with something, it's because you like it. Write that down. It's because you appreciate and enjoy it. I love what I do. For me, to create videos, it's no big deal. Creating this video is easy for me because, see, this stuff is in me. I care about this. I want you to receive this message. If you need this message in your life right now, it will change your life if you apply the pieces that I'm giving you here, right? And I'd like to say that. I didn't create this stuff. This stuff was created by people. The things I'm sharing with you right now, they're as old as time. But they work if you use them correctly, right? It's kind of like a hammer. If you flip the metal end around, put it in your hand, and you bang on something with the wooden end, you might get it done. Maybe. Odds are you're probably just going to hurt your hand and frustrate yourself. Hammer's meant to be used in a certain way. And so are life principles. They're meant to be used in a certain way. So these are the things I'm sharing with you. Okay, let's move on to the next one. You fail because of lack of humility. Humility. That's not the problem. Humility, right? So what do I mean by that? I've experienced this personally, right? And I've experienced this with a lot of people, a lot of students especially. They'll get some success and then they know it all. You can't tell them anything. It's like, okay, what you need to do next is scale here and do this and that. It's like they're done. I know I've reached my pinnacle. And I've seen this with business. I've seen this with executives. I've seen this with athletes. I've seen this with lots and lots of different people. What happens is eventually they just fade away. Don't fade away. Stay humble. It's extremely important to stay humble. Always be learning. You never reach a state of perfection, right? That old saying that, practice makes perfect? That's BS. That's garbage. Practice makes improvement. You can always better your best. You never reach a state of perfection. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way, right? So continue. Always stay humble. Always be looking for somebody that knows more about a topic than you do and learn from them. Stay humble. Do yourself a massive favor. I've seen so many people fall, right? And they may not be outwardly arrogant, but inwardly they're like, oh, or sometimes what it is that causes them to be not humble, it's actually fear, right? Because they don't want to lose what they've accumulated. They have this not enough theory about the world, right? I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you there's plenty. Literally, I built it twice, lost it, and built it the third time. And I could build it a fourth, fifth, and sixth time if I needed to. See, that comes from doing it. I'm not trying to be arrogant by saying that, but that comes from doing it. That's what that comes from. So that's what you have to do, is stay humble. There's a time in my life I didn't stay humble. And mainly it wasn't because I was trying to be arrogant. It was because I was fearful. I just like, oh, don't change what you do. Don't change. Just stay here. Just do this. Just do this. Well, times change. Things change. People change. Circumstances change. Economies change. You got to roll with the punches. Stay humble and stay flexible, okay? That's probably what I should have titled that. Stay humble and stay flexible. That's what I'm trying to communicate to you. Very important. If you ever experienced this in your life, you know what I mean. It can go away just as quick as it showed up. Even quicker, actually. Right? They say in markets, I'm in crypto as well, and they say that how they put it, the bull comes up the stairs, the bear goes out the window, right? And all that really means is it takes a while to accumulate, but you can lose it. Boom, just like that. And that is true. So be aware of that. Don't be fearful of it. But what will keep you from doing that, what will keep you from fear, is just constantly being educating yourself, constantly being updating and upgrading to a new version, a better version of yourself, a more aware and compassionate version of yourself. Okay? All right. Let's see. People tend to fail because they fail to network and build strong relationships. I've seen this again and again and again and again, right? People, it's really important to have relationships. For example, in affiliate marketing, I know a lot of very successful people. I know a lot of people that have tried and not been so successful, and they're reattempting. Because a lot of things that I'm explaining to you, they didn't follow. They followed the negative side of the pattern, not the positive side of the pattern. So they didn't build strong relationships. They pretty much just locked themselves in a room with a computer and just did what they did. They got a little success, and then they just continued to do that, right? They didn't network. They didn't get out. They didn't create new friendships. They didn't build a strong network. Extremely important. Extremely important. That's why I put together my Facebook group recently, and that's why I'm going to continue to work on it and continue to build it, because when you're just trapped in your own thoughts and it's just redundant, oftentimes it just becomes not a service to you. You just become trapped in this one paradigm, and that's your jam. And as long as it works, cool. But there will come a time, I promise you. I can tell you from experience that it will not work. So get out there, build friendships. If you're not good at it, if you have some hesitancy, that's okay. You don't have to do it overnight. Just think about what I'm telling you. Think about what I'm sharing with you. Work in that direction. It's very important. This one's a big one. Many, many, many people I've seen fail because they'd rather be right than successful. So I'm not going to go too deep into that, but where does that come from? Right? I've seen people argue to their own demise. And I get that. Actually, I see that all the time. Yeah, I see that all the time. I get people commenting on things that they don't know what they're talking about, right? I'll put a reel out there, I'll put a video out there, and they'll make a comment on it. And it's really interesting to me because when I go check, they'll comment on what it takes to be successful in affiliate marketing or online in general. And then I go look at their stats. I go look at their social medias. They don't have any, or there's nobody there and they've never done anything. And yet they feel this need to argue about it or make some snide comment about it. To me, it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of sad. Because clearly they heard something, or they've got something in their mind, or they're providing an excuse for not actually doing something, right? Well, yeah, that takes a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of... Okay, fine. So look, you can either have excuses or you can have results. Which one do you want? Which one means more to you? Does that make sense? That's something I share with people a lot, and my own self included. I'll find myself building up this army of reasons, right? That I call reasons, but they're really excuses as to why I don't do this, or this when I know I need to, and I know I should, and I know it would improve my life and the life of my family and the life of the people that count on me right? That's an interesting thing because as humans, we have that ability to rationalize. And that's really what it boils down to, right? Sometimes I'd rather be right than successful. Do I really mean that? No, I'd rather be successful. But my fear overrides that. And I start going, well, if you do that, then this will happen. And this might happen. And then you'd have to do this too, right? Look, it's human nature. That's how we are. I understand completely. If you tend to do that, do yourself a huge favor. Here's what I do to myself. I say, hey, shut up. Stop making excuses. Is this really what you want? Are you just putting it off because you feel some level of fear about it? What is it that's stopping you? Right? And then I get out my paper. I'm real big on that. And I start writing. I start creating the idea of, okay, well, what is it really bothering me? What is it that's really stopping me? What am I really afraid of? Because that's usually the case. There's some level of fear there, anxiety, whatever you want to label it, that's stopping me from taking action on something that I know damn well I should do. Right? Don't allow yourself that. Don't allow yourself that. Make yourself accountable, okay? And I'll get to that. Let's see. Number 6. You fail because you're too distracted. Shiny object syndrome. Okay, a big help with this one, because I know the world's busy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things to get distracted with, just life in general, kids, spouse, friends, work, internet, social medias, kitty pictures, all the little kittens playing. It's cute. It's cool. But here's what you got to do. Time block. If you don't know about time blocking, look it up. It's really important. That's where you just block out a certain amount of time and you give yourself 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is you have. You set an alarm, you put your phone across the room, and you go to task. And you make yourself focus on what it is you need to focus on to get done what you need to get done. Crucial, right? We all know that there's things we need to do, but they tend to get swept under the carpet because what? Because something else is distracting, because there's another shiny object that pops up. I get it, guys. I get it. You cannot allow yourself to do that. So am I saying discipline? Yes, I'm saying discipline. But there are ways that help you discipline yourself that doesn't feel so torturous, right? If you know you need to do something and you're having a hard time getting yourself to do it, allocate 20 minutes to start with and then move that time frame up if that's what you need to do. But go to task. Here's why. There's going to come a time where you're not able to, too old, whatever that reason will be, that you won't be able to do it anymore. And if you know you're going to resent yourself for not doing it, please, please, please take the time. Figure out how to create the energy and the effort and the momentum, right? Build momentum. Start with 10 minutes, work your way up to 15, work your way up to 20. Then eventually you'll be at a 90-minute block where you're just laser focused. Just boom, 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 boom. You're getting it done, okay? Very important. Extremely important. Let's see. Let's move on to number 7. This is another big one. You fail because you don't take responsibility for what happens in your life. Man, I see this all the time. All the time. Look, me personally, and this may sound ridiculous to you, I believe everything that happens in my life, to me, whatever you want to call it, is my responsibility. If I leave and I get in a car accident, I could have left 5 minutes later. I could have been paying more attention. I could have. Does that sound ridiculous? I know I've heard this and I've said this to people before. They're like, well, there are circumstances. I understand that. Right. And to those circumstances that, earthquakes, floods, all those types of things, here's what I can do. Okay. Let's just take weather, because it's a common one that people give me. I can make sure that I have all of the precautions that I need to have so that in the event that happens, my family and myself are secure, and that I'm able to help as many others as possible. I can do that, right? I can prepare. So if I'm unprepared and it really ends up being a problem because I was unprepared, whose fault is that? In my book, you're looking at them. Mine, my fault. Does that make sense? So many people disavow their own responsibility in their life. I hear people all the time, well, you don't understand. My ex-wife, ex-husband, college professor, whatever. I get it. Things happen. There's an old saying, and I don't think anybody knows actually where this came from, but I really like it. Between stimulus and response, there lies a space. In that space lies your freedom to choose your response. But oftentimes that's not how we live as humans, is it? There's stimulus and boom, we respond. Stimulus and boom, we respond. Realize, if you never did before, that when something happens, you have the right to take a breath, analyze it, and then respond. Or don't. But that's up to you. You are not a robot. You are not programmed, so to speak, right? I mean, you are. But what I'm asking you to do is reprogram. I'm asking you to take your right, take your freedom to choose. That's what I'm asking you to do, okay? Very, very important. I know I keep saying that. All these are very important. That's why they're on this list. Let's see. You fail because you're afraid to care. Man, I see this one a lot too. I keep saying that, but man, I see this one a lot. I talk to people all the time. They're like, I don't really care. I don't really want money. I don't really want success. Those things don't mean anything to me. Okay, listen, I believe people that would say that would lie about other things too. right? If you're listening to me right now and you just don't care about money, go ahead and send it to me. I'll take care of it. I'll get it out of your way, right? Come on, get real. In the society we live in, everybody cares. Now listen, if money becomes your God, you got a problem. Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, he who seeks silver will never be satisfied with silver. I got that, right? What does that mean to me? It means that money isn't the most crucial thing. I understand that. But it helps you in the societies that we live in to buy things, to help people, right? I read a question the other day I responded to on somebody's Facebook. He said, is money important? Well, yeah. You know, there's certain things that money can't fix, but here's what it can do. It can feed hungry. It can house homeless, right? It can make your life easier when you do have a problem. God forbid that you have some medical issue come up and insurance won't cover it, like usual, right? Happens all the time. They deny, just to see if you'll fight for it. Gross. I know. Shouldn't be that way. I understand. However, what I can tell you is, in my opinion, money's pretty damn important because it affords you choices. That's what money's for. Is it the most important? No, definitely not. In our society, it definitely affords you choices, okay? So pretending you don't care or being afraid to engage, because if you do care, it puts you at risk of failing, is what I see a lot with people around the topic of money and other people, actually, right? They just don't want to take the risk on it because they had this bad relationship once or they didn't get along with their dad or their mom or both. Listen, that's a weakness. That's not a strength, right? It's a coping mechanism that really, really will punish you if you allow it to do so. And it holds you at bay. It doesn't let you truly live. It's very sad. So if you're engaged in that, you might want to take a look at it. It's not a strength. People talk to me like that all the time. Well, I'm the kind of person that really doesn't give a damn. Cool. How's that working out for you? Once you talk to them a little more, you realize they feel alienated. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust other people. Or they pretend to trust themselves and be happy, but they're really not happy because they feel isolation, right? Man, none of those things are healthy. So really take a look at those things because that will sink your ship in a hurry. Big fat hurry. Right, I went through that in my life where I had a pretty big failure in my life and I just started to be like, well, I don't care. That wasn't that important. I was such a liar. It was so important to me. That's why I put all my time, energy, and effort into trying to succeed at it. And I didn't fail at it per se. What I failed at is this list of things I'm sharing with you. That's what took it away from me, right? Lack of humility took it away from me. Lack of being willing to expand and grow and be open to input. That's what took it away from me. Now I realize I take responsibility for it. I deserved to lose it. I needed to learn that lesson. Humbled me right up. Life has a way of doing that, doesn't it? So let's move on to the last one here. You fail because deep down you don't think you deserve what you want. Boy, that's massive, right? And I could talk forever about that, but this video is getting really long. So I won't. But what I'm going to share with you here is social narrative just sucks, right? It's set up in a way, like I mentioned earlier, be humble, keep your head down, don't make a fool of yourself, right? When you have all that baggage heaped on your shoulders, and you don't take the time to process it and really realize it's all a bunch of trash. It's garbage, right? I want to end this video by just pointing out to you. Okay, people talk about the idea of tradition. Some traditions are really healthy and really supportive. Some aren't. Well, it's tradition in a lot of large societies to hand scarcity mindset and the willingness to fail, provided you're not noticed. From generation to generation to generation to generation. Now, as parents, is that really what we want for our kids? Is that what our parents wanted for us? No. But a lot of the advice we receive, that's all it can end up with, right? Crap advice, crap result. Crap advice, crap result. We're like, why are my results suck? Because you got crap advice. That's why. Just no good. That kind of stuff does not support being successful, being willing to go back to one, being willing to stand out in a crowd, right? None of that lends itself to being forward thinking, to being successful. It lends itself to being trapped. It lends itself to being stuck in a social narrative that doesn't support you. So what I came here and my intention with this video today is just to stimulate thought and let you know, look, these things, they're not your fault, but they will punish you. So if they're punishing your life, if you're suffering because of any of these things, there is a solution, right? It's to process it and really take a look at it. And just realize, hey, look, I thought this as a kid, as a 20-year-old, as a 30-year-old, as a 40-year-old, whatever it is, wherever you're at in your life. And just realize, look, you got the ability to take those bags and set them down. Take the monkey off your back. It's not yours. It was handed to you by previous generations and social narrative. It doesn't belong to you. You just accepted it from an authority figure or multiple authority figures in your life. You have the right to choose right now, today, starting right now, not tomorrow, not the day after tomorrow, right now, to process these things and set them down and decide you're going to make your life different. That's my hope for you. I'm going to end the video there. If you like this kind of content, give me a like on this video. If you think it sucked, tell me it sucked. Do me a favor. Have an opinion. Give me a comment and tell me what you thought. All of these things are extremely important to me. They've affected my life dramatically. I've worked with so many people that it's affected them as well. I came here to share it with you. Let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next video.